Hello, everyone, and welcome once more to Chinet, where we learn from builders before the machines take over. I'm your host, Rachit Magan, and today we're tackling one of the hottest debates in tech. Can you really break into deep tech roles without a computer science degree, or are we just selling false hope to people? So today we talk to Prateek Jain, a data engineer who's architecting scalable data solutions at S&P Global. But he started with a BCom degree and rose from a pure marketing role to a deep technology software role in just 6 years. So you see, while Zach Wilson was going viral on LinkedIn for sharing his $600,000 Airbnb salary, professionals like Prateek were proving that the path to engineering success does not run through a CS classroom. And today's conversation is actually not about feel good success stories. It's actually the opposite. We're actually diving into the behind the scenes, what happens, what are the hiring biases, is AI automation a threat that could actually eliminate these entry level roles, and whether it's even possible in today's date to do a career change from something like marketing, sales, or other fields into technology. Pratik, welcome to Chinet, and can we start with a brief introduction to yourself and your role?
Yep, thanks, Rachel, for having me here. Yes, I am excited to talk to you about this conversation, and I think it's a very important topic to cover. So yes, like you said, I transitioned from a BCom to an engineering role, and I also did a computer science degree, by the way, during my job. So I covered it last year. I think I completed it. So I've been working since 6 years into software engineering now. Currently working as a data engineer. Uh, yeah, I think I started off as an influencer marketer back in 2019, and now I'm here uh, in my current role.
Very interesting. That's very interesting because it's a we see a lot of people going from CS, doing an MBA and then moving outside of
Yeah,
engineering roles. But in your case, it happened the opposite. You started as an
yeah.
influencer marketer. But what was it about influencer marketing, right, which actually made you make the switch? Was it like what was the trigger?
No, there was no trigger. I think it's a good industry, and I liked that as well. It
Right.
just wasn't for me. I think I would not have been able to do very well there. It was not
Hmm.
like I was not enjoying it. I think it's a different sort of fun there as well.
Right, right. No, yeah, definitely. That's the people who like you who have fun as an influencer marketer or in the marketing space. They stick there. So I know a lot
Yes.
of friends who are in marketing roles in different companies, and yeah, they of course have fun. But yeah, having said that, every role is not for every person. That's
Yes.
also very true. So let's get down to our uncomfortable discussions today. So what we're seeing is that recently Goldman Sachs released a report where they said that because of AI, 300 million jobs can be exposed to automation, right? But on the other hand, we have very successful YouTube channels which teach React or Python or JavaScript and tell people that take this 6 month course and you'll get uh, an engineering job. But so what's the reality? Are we selling people a dream which is probably going to be automated away?
That's a very good question. And I won't deny the fact that the operational and repetitive tasks which we were probably doing before will get automated now because of especially because of platforms coming in like Edit and Make, this Pinkfish, and a lot
Right.
more. Right? But we have to understand that even before AI came into the picture, we were automating things as well. I think, as organizations or as teams who want to do more productive work, automations were always there. We were always trying to automate the operational tasks and move on to do more productive things, maybe the strategy or the thinking or the planning. But so with AI, it has made it simpler for everyone to adopt automation than only people who are into software roles or who can write code. Uh, so I think automations have always been there, so it's not like it's threatening a job now. Yes, it's made it easier, so people now can now more focus on uh, strategy and planning. As far as
Right.
jobs goes, I think
Hmm.
yes, if 10 people were needed to automate a task before, maybe now two or three are required.
Hmm.
But that doesn't mean that the other eight will have to necessarily lose their jobs or lose their careers. If the other eight are also able to adapt to this change, they may get better roles as well, or maybe within the same or the different organizations, because everyone needs talent to drive initiatives.
True.
As far
True.
as the YouTube influencers goes, I think, see, learning technology is still a good thing. And now, if they're promising that you would be able to work the same way as before, then that's wrong. However, if you don't understand Python, React, or these technologies which we are now learning, even if AI writes that code, you will not know if it's correct. You can't
Right.
rely on AI writing 100% correct code. So even if it hallucinates or gives you wrong results, you don't know. And if I think that's the half-baked truth that it's still relevant, but in a certain context. We have to adapt
Hmm.
to AI and use it to the advantage instead of relying on AI to write everything for us.
True. True. That makes sense. And I think, yeah, because at the end, a lot of the times with these technologies, what happens is, like, for example, even there's this story that when the printing press was was first created, uh, the inventor was hanged to death because they thought that
Uh,
he's been sent by the devil, because
mm,
that time there were a lot of people who, there were industries which were built on copying the Bible. And there were people who used to write and copy those books and then sell them, and they thought that this industry will die because of the printing press. Then what will
yeah.
people do? So yeah. So yeah, but I think there's going to be a major shift, right, in terms
Yeah.
of how we work. And but
Yeah.
yeah, you're also not wrong that if people adapt, then it's not necessary that that the whole idea of learning technology and then getting jobs, it won't go
Yeah.
away. Yeah. But
Yeah,
let's
of
talk
course. I
about.
mean, yeah.
Mhm. Right, yes,
Yeah, I mean,
please.
AI has not taken away the fun part, right? Fun part of software engineering is still thinking and
Right,
planning,
right,
right?
right,
When you actually see that your entire strategy worked towards a great product,
right.
that is still the fun part which AI is not automating right now.
True, true, true.
Yeah.
That's very true. But yeah, so let's talk about this. Let's talk about actually writing code. Right? There
Mm.
are claims from most of the major companies that AI can basically write more than 30% of the code which is being pushed. Right? So what are we training people for, especially in the junior roles? If it's
Mm.
actually AI which is going to write the code.
I think uh, I think every company right now is experimenting with AI code. It's not like they have, so like you said, right, 30% of the code,
Right.
right? So it's they are right now experimenting if writing code with AI automatically serves the purpose or not.
Hmm.
And I think cannot still do it at 100% capacity because it does not have the entire context. So let's say that you have an entire business use case behind a feature. Now, and it may be divided into, let's say, 10 sources. The code which you are working on right now may not be, AI may not be aware of the other 10 sources it is getting the data from. So it's difficult for the AI code to have the entire context of everything that you're doing in that feature or in that product for it to write everything completely on its own. So if it's an algorithmic issue, right? If you want to increase the speed, performance, everything, right? Or DSL, everything, that easily can be done by the AI written code. But if there are things where you need to actually uh, put in your brains to connect the dots between different application resources, destinations, pipelines, there you need a human intervention as well. So I think junior developers right now need to be trained on using AI along with getting the job done,
Right.
and not just writing prompts to the
Hmm.
editor, I
Fair
think.
enough.
So
Yeah, that makes sense. That's a very important training, I think, which needs to start happening.
yeah,
But what I have seen is that there's a clear differentiation. Like I've been talking to a lot of people, right? Very specific to this topic. I've been talking to indie developers. I've been talking to successful entrepreneurs, and people in deep tech, and people who are freelancing and in the web development game. So I feel right now, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel that right now the people who are in the web development game, right, they are the ones who are majorly getting affected, because that is something which is getting automated like really fast, and that's what Cursor and Lovable and all of these things are very good at. The moment we move away from there, the moment we go into, let's say, distributed systems, there is hardly any effect. Like people are saying that AI is, there have been people who actually come on this podcast and claim that AI is actually hampering their growth. It's actually
yeah,
negatively impacting productivity.
mm,
And I think you're also, because you're in the data engineering segment, you're also not you're also not that afraid that this domain will be affected that heavily, because
yeah.
there's so much to know, there's so much to integrate, right? So that's I think, yeah, definitely that is something which will probably stay and stick for longer, right?
I think web development also,
Hmm.
I'd say yes, it's 80% there with writing code by AI.
Right.
But if you notice that the UI which the AI is giving is not something which you may be able to use for your okay, so there are two kinds of websites, right? When
Hmm.
one are your landing pages, your basic informational sites. And I
Right.
think AI is doing a great job in automating those. It can write a lot of good code just to get a basic website done. And I think for maximum people, that's enough. Right? You
Right.
don't need to actually create anything too complex for a normal day-to-day website.
Right.
But if you actually want to create something great as a SaaS, right? If you want to create good dashboards, panels, or portals, there, if you ask AI to create something, it will give you a very POC level UI,
Hmm. Right.
and it may not serve your purpose entirely.
True.
Right? There
True.
will be a lot of very inefficient code written there, which will, so very basic example, right? You go to this UI coded by, let's say, Lovable.
Hmm.
And if you open it again, every time you go to that tab, it will re-verify your login, right?
Okay. Hmm.
That's
Right.
a very thing, basic front-end thing, right? But
Right.
it still does that.
Hmm.
So I think it works for some. It doesn't work for some as well. But yes, web dev is, I think, getting easier with AI.
True. Right. Right. And let's talk about indie hackers also, since we're talking about this. What, like, I've been seeing so many posts on Reddit, right? We met on Reddit, and I
Yeah.
think I've been on Reddit a lot these days, and I've been seeing a lot of posts where people are claiming that they used AI, built a tool for in 2-3 days, and now they're doing $10,000 MRR. I honestly don't know what to make of it, but what are your thoughts? I would love to understand that.
I think so. I think that's really good marketing, by the way. Not, I would not call it a good product because these people who share these claims, I have not used these products myself as well. It's either the lack of them sharing it publicly. I'm not sure why, but I've not seen them being used very openly. So I think what happens is that they asked Lovable to create something out of it. And yes, of course, right? It's Lovable, so it can do it within, but and 24 hours is also not a lot, right? It can do within minutes. And then you give it prompts, and then in 24 hours, you make it a POC.
Right.
Now, this POC, you have already created a hype on Reddit. The posts
Right.
that we see, they probably are doing more posts before that, just to get some
Mm,
users.
Right.
And so just to try it out, you give it out, you create that hype, and as soon as you release that product, you have some users on board. Now that number itself, I don't think it does justice to the long-term retention of the
Right.
users, right?
Right.
It's maybe it's MRR, but maybe it's more a month.
Right.
And
Right.
so you
True.
don't know what's going on in the back end.
Right.
And I think there was one Twitter post as well, one from one of these founders, such founders, that so this person created a product. I think they got funding also, I'm not sure. And they were doing great, the similar
Hmm.
numbers which you mentioned.
Right.
And then I think a few weeks later, this guy posted that someone, I think because with brute force or something, they sort of put a lot of bad entries into the database.
Okay.
Yeah, they
Right.
flooded the database with
Uh,
irrelevant entries,
hmm.
and now they were facing an issue. So now this person was looking for an actual engineer to help him fix it.
Right. Right.
So,
So eventually
so
you'll need engineers to help
yeah.
you. Yeah, of course. Even when we use AI in our
Mhm.
products, there initially when we started using Cursor, we were moving really fast, but then suddenly we realized that the moment there's a bug, our engineers, they're like, we did not write this code. Cursor wrote the code,
Yeah.
and we're like, guys, that's not what you can say. That's not how it's done.
Yeah.
So yeah. But let's talk a bit about hiring in general, because what uh, it's a difficult thing which you have done, to be very honest, right? Because
Mhm.
you've moved from commerce to tech, and it's not a very traditional journey. So when an HR, for example, during that time, when you had these initial conversations, your first call, because of course once you're through that first call, you're talking to someone in the technical space, you can, because of your knowledge and because of your self learning, you can convince them. But during your first call, how do you prove that a commerce background with self learning is actually an advantage versus someone who's coming from a BTech CS background?
Okay, good question. So I think you're right. I think the first couple of switches were not easy, and this was a very common question which was put out by every hiring manager or resource, that why are you trying to move from BCom to this role? You've not done a BTech. I think so. I've never tried to run away from it. I never tried to hide it.
Right.
I was, and honestly, I didn't know any of any strategies also at that time. I was just being honest with whatever recruiter was asking me this. And I think some recruiters or some companies appreciated the fact that I'm trying to self-learn and move, because that gives me more motivation to try and succeed into the industry. And I think being from a commerce background, I think gives me a little edge because I try to understand the business behind it instead of just looking at the code or maybe thinking about how to write the code. Right.
Right. That's
So
that makes sense. Yes. We have. It's actually not a question. It's actually a comment. I think this is for the discussion we were having previously. But Rishi Raj says that requiring zero human intervention in AI generated code is something still on the way. AI today can generate different pieces of Legos, but humans have to arrange them. So yeah, I think I totally agree with Rishi Raj.
yeah.
And what are your thoughts on this?
Yes, I think that's a very good way to put it. Yeah, so it can create modules, but then you need a human intervention to connect the dots.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly, and
So
I think that's why we would keep needing developers, but then we don't need people who can build Legos anymore, right? We just need the Legos
yeah,
are already there built by AI. We just need people who can assemble those Legos,
but
as
if you
Rishi
know how
said.
to build that Lego block, then maybe you can debug it later. If
Yeah,
you
that's true. That's true. You know how you need to know how to build the Lego
yes,
block.
yeah,
Even if we don't you don't need to build the Lego block. That's
correct.
true. That's true. There's one more question from one of our viewers. He asks, which technology should I learn if I'm a recent graduate in BTech Computer Science without a job?
Uh,
I feel this is coming from our discussion on web development versus distributed
yeah.
systems versus data engineering, right? So, what are your
Hmm.
thoughts on this?
I think it's a very subjective question, and software engineering is a very wide industry, right? I mean, there are a
Right.
lot of minor technologies people work on. I think it really depends on what you really want to do, and there's no single technology that will make you succeed. Uh, if you like working with data, then go with the data role. If you like backend and system designs, then a backend developer is good. If you like creating great UI, then front end. But
Hmm.
yeah, I think if a little more context would be there according to it.
Right. So, Mr. C Singh, you'll have to give some more context. Maybe you guys can connect after the live and you
Yeah.
can ask your questions. But honestly, I think what Pratik is saying and what I also think is true is that you need to do what you like and what you're good at, right? And if there's a good intersection between what you like and what you're good at, then you have something there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it can be that you like something but you're not good at it, or you're good at it. And actually there are three things in that Venn diagram. If you've seen, I've seen it on on LinkedIn only, I think. There's that, there's this one diagram which says do what you like, then the second one is do what you're good at, and the third one is that it should be something in which you'll get paid, right? So that's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
that's the
Of
intersection
course.
which you want want to be.
Yeah.
So you need
The
to
third
like
one is
that thing, you
important.
need to be
Yeah.
good at it, and you need to get paid for it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
So yeah, that makes that I think that makes a lot of sense. So yeah, now coming to your now, since you're in a more senior role, I'm sure you must be interviewing people, right?
Mm.
Now just I want you to be very, very honest, and very try to understand, like, unconsciously, do you favor someone who has a computer science degree? There's uh, there are debates which says, that skills are better, degrees, we don't need degrees. But then we've seen, again, this is all coming from the LinkedIn content which I keep scrolling, that there are companies which say that we don't need CS degrees, but then they keep ghosting non CS candidates. So what's the scene behind, what's the BTS? Give us the behind the scenes of this.
So I'll tell you, I'll answer the later question that you asked
Hmm.
first, right? That people on paper they claim that we do not discriminate, but they would prefer someone with a CS degree. So I was working in the startup early, I think around 3 to 4 years back. I won't name it, but so at that time I was high. I was pretty at a junior role. So at that time, they had started hiring people from IITs, right? Even the freshers only, but not for uh, senior roles. And I had asked the CEO and the CTO at that time that why is the IIT check there? I mean, they were only hiring from IITs. So then uh, I think one fine day, when after 2, 3 times I asked them this question, they replied saying that, oh, because we need funding, so we need to actually show that we have IITians working for
Okay.
us,
Mm.
right? Even if it's freshers.
Right.
And I think that still is the reality. I'm not sure for a lot of startups, but I can't comment on any other, but that was there in that startup.
Hmm.
Uh, Now coming to uh, unconsciously favoring CS graduates, I think I don't do it because I am pretty sure I don't do it because so education is the last segment is that I see in a resume because I first check the experience, the projects, and everything. And I think at S&P, I've interviewed less people comparatively than maybe previous roles. Uh, but even in S&P, the roles that I have seen have not looked at education a lot. Although
Hmm.
I'd agree that the resumes I got were always engineers
Right.
by education.
Hmm.
So I think I remember one case back in the last company which I was working for
Hmm.
that so there was this person interviewing with us for the it was the first round and on paper it was well it I mean it was good but during the interview it did not go very well and it was not bad, it was average. And
Hmm.
when we asked the candidate if you have any questions, so he asked me will if I get rejected, will it be because of my CS non-CS degree? I am from a BBA background. And then I thought that okay, maybe this person has not researched me at all. So
Yeah. Right.
I clearly told them that okay, I didn't even know until now that you were not
Right.
a BTech.
Hmm.
So this was the last. So this will be the last thing that I will judge you on.
Hmm. So if you get rejected, it will be for your interview performance. It
Skills,
won't be
yeah,
for your skill. It won't be for your degree. Yeah,
yeah.
makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. But now let's talk about general the disruption which is happening because of AI, right? Like from your background, I've seen you build frameworks, you build lead management systems, all of these things, and these are exactly the tasks which Cursor, Copilot, these coding assistants are doing. So is it that by you, I don't mean like you per se, I mean like all of us, right? So is it that we are actually automating us out of our future? Is it like that? Is that what
There
we're
are two
doing?
angles to it. So if you are trying to build what is already out there, then
Right.
AI can easily do it, right? But if you're trying to build something very unique, with a very specific feature or functionality which was not there before, then I doubt AI can build it from scratch. They can, so like the Lego comment, right? It can, so if you're trying to build an entirely new product, some Lego pieces which will be common amongst other platforms similar to yours can be built by AI, but AI can't build a new invention out of nowhere, right? If it does not have that context. So if it's not done it successfully before, I don't think it can properly build that new feature. It will have a lot of bugs, and then you will need an engineer to actually to build that innovation from scratch, or maybe build upon what AI has already given you. So I think that point. So I'd say that, of course, so AI has come in and automated a lot of everyday tasks, yes. But for if you're trying to do something new, then AI will not help you there a lot.
Hmm,
So
fair enough. And this actually reminds me, like when we were doing our research on you, I saw one of your Reddit posts where you said that you drive a car and you actually not race with it,
yeah.
and that actually resonates till a certain extent with me. But there are CEOs who are claiming like something completely different. Like for example, Jensen Huang said that eventually no one will have to write any code, right? Mark Benoist
Mm.
said that Salesforce will not hire any more software engineers. So what do you think? Like, are these CEOs just creating hype, or is the car analogy somewhere wrong?
See, I think these two people are pretty high in the chain, right? I can't
Right.
entirely deny what they say, and I can't just outrightly go against it.
Right.
But
No, of course.
I think so. When they had put out this quote, I
Hmm.
think it was misinterpreted in a sense, and by by saying that people will not write any more code, he did not mean that software engineering will go away. Right? So
Hmm.
yes, we've
Right.
already discussed, right? So AI will
Yes.
reduce the count, the type of code we write, and it's saving us time, right? It's giving us time to plan and to strategize, to actually
Right.
design the system. So if we design the system and then AI writes code for us, we can ship products way faster, way quicker. I think in that sense, it is a good thing. But people getting afraid that okay, if we can't write code, then we don't have a job, then that's a wrong tangent to go on.
Fair enough. That's very interesting. That not writing code is not akin to software engineering will die,
Yeah,
right? Software engineering will still exist as a field, but yeah, but the meaning of writing code as we know
will
it
change.
might
Yeah.
change. Yes, exactly. That makes sense. So I want to also there's this thing where they say that resource economy is gonna come, right? Where there will be a lot of people will now, because AI has made it so easy to write code, a lot of we will see the golden age of what we call the solopreneurs, or solo builders.
Mm.
So do you think that's actually going to happen, and these solo builders will be able to compete, or is it like we're going to see a tsunami of mediocre AI generated apps which are just clouding the whole system?
I think so. Yes, I'd say that because of the introduction of AI and of Cursor and Windsurf and everything, people will definitely try to build something of their own because
Right,
uh, I think everyone is trying to achieve a certain goal, right? I mean, and I think
right.
most of those goals are similar, maybe not the same, but those are similar, right? And I think the path to that goal comes from this product that they're trying to build.
Hmm.
So if this product is not solving a certain purpose, then I don't think it will do well because
Hmm.
even if you use AI as a wrapper and you build something, but that something is not solving a good problem, then I don't think it will go a long way. Right? You can create all the hype you want. You can do a lot of personal branding on it. But then at the end of the day, if that product is not helping you achieve a goal, then that's not a good product.
Right,
So
right.
even if you tell people that, oh, I built this in 48 hours, and if your first set of initial trial users were able to give you a certain MRR also, or I'll say one-time monthly revenue also, but after 1 month, if the users do not stay at a platform, then it's not a good product,
It's
right?
not worth it.
So
Absolutely.
I think people who now are thinking of are actually now planning of using AI as a wrapper, but they're actually trying to innovate it in a way that you make it easier for people to do certain goal or certain task, then that product will actually do well. And I still think that solopreneurship is subjective when it comes to uh, a software product because so okay, if you build even if you build lovable and everything, right? Even as a non-tech person, you try to build it. There will come a point where you need to optimize your processes, and
Hmm.
that is where AI might not be able
You
to
will
help
need
you
real
a lot,
engineers.
right? You'll need
Yeah,
real engineers to actually help you optimize everything so that it's usable for a more scalability point of view, right? I mean, you can't just keep on using everything through Lovable.
fair
You'll have
enough.
to move out.
Right, right. So
So
for an MVP, it might be okay, but eventually you'll need a team. You'll need real builders. You cannot have fake
yeah,
founders roaming around.
yeah. I
Right.
mean, if you call yourself the only founder, but you still have a team of, let's say, 5 people who are helping you out, then I would not call it solopreneurship just because you are the
Yes,
only
of
founder.
course. Right.
Right? So,
That's very true. So yeah, we're actually running out of time, but I have a
okay.
lot of questions. But I'll ask one last question, which I almost ask everyone who's ever been in this podcast. That 5 years from now, when we have AI agents handling data pipelines, there are these low code tools which we already see. There's so many, and they're getting very advanced, which can build their own. You can build your own ETL process directly from those tools. What is your plan for staying relevant in such a rapidly changing, rapidly evolving field? And why I ask your plan is because I'm sure that our listeners would also want to know that how do they stay relevant.
I think one thing I realized about data engineering is that it's never about the tools that we use. It's always about the ability to understand the data, to understand how it connects with your actual application. And so data engineering is not always for post analytics, right? It's not always
Right.
you can also use data engineering for an incoming stream to your application. So even if AI comes tomorrow and does, let's say, automate 50%, right? I'm not sure how, but let's say it does that. Even then, you'd need planners, you'll need designs to actually get the work done in a certain way. You can't always rely on AI to make the decisions for you. So data engineering itself, I think tools are just a means to get it done. Data engineering is a lot more than just the tools. So
Fair
we'll
enough.
still need custom
Right.
logics and business
Right.
requirements, code. Yeah.
Right. So tools are just like one very small part of the game. And
Yep.
yes, that makes a lot of sense. And thank you so much, Prateek. And for everyone else, guys, that was Prateek. He's from being a BCom, he's now a data engineer at S&P Global. He's proving the path that that you can actually go into deep technology. You can actually go into system design, these kind of things, even if you've not gone through a computer science, a formal BTech degree. And but of course, from what I hear is that it's not as simple as the YouTube and the LinkedIn influencers call it to be. That you take a 3 month course and get into it, but it's possible. It's possible for sure. And yes, thank you so much, Prateek, for giving us your time. It has been lovely hosting you, and looking forward to following your journey.
Thanks a lot, Rajat.
All right. Have a
It was
wonderful
great.
day. Thank you. Bye bye.
You too. Bye bye.